The rain fell hard that evening, hammering the city streets in silver streaks, as though the sky itself had decided to weep for her. Claire Morgan stood by her black SUV, engine smoking in the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, the sound of hissing metal the only answer to her spiraling thoughts. Her designer heels splashed in a growing puddle, but she didn't care. A week ago, she had been the woman people envied, sharp suits, endless confidence, her name etched in glass on the top floor of a corporate skyscraper. Now, she was standing alone in the cold, clutching her phone with trembling hands, staring at the email that had ripped her life apart. Everything she had built over 15 years, her company, her reputation, her fortune, was gone. Betrayal had come from the people she trusted most, and in the space of one board meeting, she had gone from CEO to nothing. Before we go deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of ordinary people to change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with friends, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope. It's free, and it helps us bring more real, human stories to you. The wind cut through her thin coat as she tried to wave down passing cars, but most didn't even slow. That was when a dented pickup truck rumbled to a stop beside her, its headlights casting long shadows over the wet asphalt. A tall man in his late 40s stepped out, wiping his hands on a rag that looked like it had lived in his pocket for years. He had grease on his forearms, a baseball cap pulled low, and the kind of calm eyes that didn't rush to judge. "Looks like your radiator's cooked," he said, glancing at the smoke. She tried to nod, but her throat was too tight. Her words came out choked. She didn't just mean the car. She meant everything. "I lost everything," she whispered, voice breaking under the weight of it. He didn't flinch at her tears, didn't offer pity. He just looked at her, then said quietly, "You still have her." The words hit her strangely, like a key turning in a lock she didn't know she had. But she didn't understand. Her? Who was her? Before she could ask, he gestured to the passenger seat of her SUV, where a little girl's pink raincoat lay crumpled, drops of water glistening on the fabric. Claire's gaze lingered on it for a long moment, her chest tightening. She had been so consumed by the collapse of her empire that she had forgotten she was still a mother, that in the next street over, a babysitter was keeping her 8-year-old daughter safe and warm, waiting for her to come home. He worked silently on her car for a while, the rhythmic clink of his tools almost soothing. The street smelled faintly of oil and wet pavement. She watched his hands, steady, patient, as though he had fixed far worse things than broken engines. In those minutes, something inside her began to shift. She realized how blind she had been, measuring her worth only in profits, contracts, and quarterly reports. She had fought so hard to be someone in the world's eyes that she had missed how much she already was to the person who mattered most. That night, when he offered her a ride after the car refused to start, she hesitated. She didn't know him. But the sincerity in his voice made her feel safe in a way she hadn't in months. As they drove through the rain-slick streets, he told her his name, Ethan. He owned a small repair shop a few blocks away. Life hadn't been easy for him either. He'd lost his wife years ago, raising his daughter alone until she went to college. "Things break," he said, his eyes on the road, "but that doesn't mean they're over. You fix what you can. You hold on to what matters." Over the next weeks, Claire found herself stopping by Ethan's shop, not just for her SUV, but for the quiet reassurance his company gave her. She told him things she had never told anyone, how her partners had staged a coup, how the media had painted her as reckless, how friends she'd entertained in her mansion now refused to return her calls. He listened without judgment. Sometimes, he'd hand her a wrench and teach her something small, like replacing a belt or tightening a bolt, as if reminding her that she was still capable of building, still capable of making something whole again. Slowly, Claire began piecing her life together. She moved out of her high-rise apartment into a smaller place, one with a tiny garden her daughter loved to tend after school. They started cooking dinners together instead of eating takeout between meetings. She found part-time consulting work for small businesses, realizing she could use her skills to help people who didn't have corporate armies behind them. Every time she doubted herself, she remembered Ethan's words, "You still have her." And it was true, her daughter's laughter at the breakfast table, the way she ran into her arms after school, the bedtime stories that ended in sleepy whispers, these were the treasures no boardroom could give or take away. One evening, months later, Claire passed Ethan's shop and saw the lights still on. She stepped inside to find him struggling with a stubborn engine, sweat on his brow. Without thinking, she grabbed a rag, joined him, and together they worked until the motor hummed to life. He looked at her then, not like the broken woman he'd first met in the rain, but like someone who had found her way back. She realized she hadn't just rebuilt her life, she had rebuilt herself. Claire never got her old company back, and she never became the woman on magazine covers again. But she no longer wanted that. She wanted mornings filled with her daughter's hugs, evenings spent helping people whose dreams were still fragile, and the kind of friends who showed up in pickup trucks on rainy nights. She learned that losing everything can sometimes strip away only what never mattered in the first place, leaving you with what always did. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who might need hope today, and subscribe to Ripple of Hope so we can keep bringing you real stories that inspire. Before you go, I have a special request. Comment below with one thing in your life that matters more than money, success, or status. Your words might just remind someone else of what they still have.